Hey everybody, I'm going to make some indigo today, an indigo dye vat, which means that you need to have all your ingredients. And I'm going to show you how to make an indigo dye vat using one of the 3 proven methods. So there's not just one way to do indigo. And it's also the only cold water dye. Everything else you heat and boil and steep like tea, like tea in a tea bag. So, but with indigo, it's a cold water process. Except I am going to start with some lukewarm tap water. So, just to get started, I'm doing this in my house because it's been so cold and rainy outside that I can't do it. But I have so much stuff that I need to do that I'm just going to do it in my house, which is not ideal. You ideally want to do your indigo outside or even on a porch or just somewhere where it doesn't matter because it will literally stain everything. Like, I'm just moving some of these pots around. I thought I'd like cleaned them real well. I'm going to have blue fingers. So you want to work with some, in a clean space with gloves, ideally, and I don't have any with me, but I've done this a lot, so it's okay if I have blue hands. So there's I get a pre-reduced indigo that you can get online. It's 65% pre-reduced, and it comes in these little crystals. You know, it smells good. You store it in a bag, or I prefer these containers with the snap lock lids, just because they're safer. You don't want this stuff spilling out. So I have my powder, and then I have my reducing agent. You need a reducing agent. I use thiodioxide. It's like probably the least eco of anything that I use in natural dyeing, but it takes the oxygen out of the water, and that's the only way to make the indigo work. Okay. We're talking about dried indigo here. Fresh indigo is a different story. It's a different process altogether. I'm not talking about that. But this is like dried indigo, pre-reduced, which means some of the oxygen's already taken out of it, but we're going to take the rest of the oxygen out of the water. And in order to do that, we need the thiodioxide. And then this is washing soda, which is highly basic. Base, meaning on the pH spectrum, acid and base. This is like as you add this to your water, it increases from like a 7, which water kind of naturally is like a 7. So is our blood. So is our, well, anyway. And then it goes up to a 14. That's like the highest it can be. But we don't want to go that high because it'll like burn our fabric and our hand. It's not even possible to go that high. So this washing soda will like get us up to a 9, probably. So first, I'm going to start by filling up with like lukewarm tap water. This container holds 3 gallons. So that's what I'm going to be measuring. Your measurements depend on the size of your container. I've used 5-gallon buckets before, but you never want to fill it all the way up to the top, obviously, because then you have no place for your fabric to go, and it'll just spill all over the place. So you always want to keep it like a good like 6 to 8 inches below the top. So like I'm gonna fill this to about right here. In a 5-gallon bucket, I would fill it to about right here, so that you have room for your fabric to move around yet not overflow, if that makes sense. So this is filling up. I want to wait until it's full to put the items in, because once you put your thiodioxide in, you don't want to disturb it that much. Disturbing the water creates air bubbles. Air bubbles create oxygen, and you would just be doing yourself a disservice. So keep these around, but ones that you don't care if they get dye on them, because they will, and then you can dye them in like a color. So, but it's just important to, when I wear black when I do this because I don't want it to stain. In the indigo, it's also very fast. Like other dyes, you have a minute or two before it starts staining stuff to like get it off the table or the floor or the couch or your clothes or the dog. With indigo, you don't have any time. It's instant. So that's why I usually do it outside, and that's why I like to be like careful. But yeah, we're gonna do it inside. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fun. I'm just gonna be really careful. Actually, I'm probably gonna do it on the porch. I don't even wanna risk it in the house. I've actually never done an indigo dye inside before. But I can set it up. It's no problem. And this is a good place to set it up. Is over your sink where you have like tools. Also, another important thing is all the tools I use, my bowl, my buckets, my bowl, my containers, my spoons, my everything, I don't also use for food. I know it goes without saying, but this isn't something you want to put dye in and then like put your soup in later for your family. So just keep a dedicated set of dye kitchen items and keep them separate. Keep them labeled if you need to. I don't need to label this one because I know that it's been used for dyeing. This is purple. So now this is important. We've got a tablespoon. We're going to do 5, 4, 5. So we're going to do 5 tablespoons of indigo, 4 tablespoons of the Theo, and 5 tablespoons of washing soda. I'll go over all that again when I'm doing it. So we just are ready to start. So 5, I'm going to sprinkle them in. You want to sprinkle it kind of around so that you're not just getting a big clump. 2, 3, and just sprinkle throughout. It'll 5. So 5, 4, 5 tablespoons is the measurement for a 3-gallon dye vat. And honestly, I don't recommend any more than that because 3 gallons goes a long way. You wait and see what I'm going to be able to get with 3 gallons. It's going to be probably I don't even think I have enough stuff. Okay. All right. Now, without stirring it or mixing it, you're going to go straight into your Theo and you're going to do 4. Same thing. Sprinkle it around. 4. And if this was like boiling or something, I wouldn't be breathing it, but it's just tap water. It's like warm-ish. It's not steaming or anything. And it looks like I have just enough. 4. I'll just put it all in. So 4 tablespoons of that. And then again, without stirring, you want to go right back into your washing soda. And it's just good to have everything right here so you can just start. Washing soda, and I have everything labeled, and it goes in dedicated containers. So I don't change dyes and put them in with what was in the mordants, unless I wash it real well. That's probably fine. All right, so same thing, sprinkle all around. 5 tablespoons of washing soda. 1, 2, 3, 4. And these tend to get, the washing soda 5 tends to get a little clumpy. You tend to get like some clumps. It's okay, but just mentioning that. So then we're going to put this away. And we're going to probably put all these away. So notice I haven't stirred anything yet because because all the ingredients go in at the same time. And then now with the spoon, so I'm going to show you close up. I'm going to stay on the outside edge and work in a circle and work the water until it makes a don't know how to call it, like a circle vacuum tornado in the water. You're wanting to encourage all the powder on the bottom to go into the bottom, into the center, and dissolve. And you're stirring vigorously, but don't let any of it spill out. And also, another thing that's happening is you see this flower forming? It's called a flower. It's like the foam bubbles of the indigo. When the water's coming out, they turn into bubbles on the surface and they collect, and it's what's called a flower. It just means that's where the Theo is doing its job and it's pulling the water out. So you just want to do this for about 2 minutes, like maximum probably, till you've got that flower formed. Now remove your spoon around on the outside. Did you see how I did that? To stop, and then pull it out carefully. So what that does is it creates your flour. All right. You see the flour? So I'm just going to let that sit for 30 minutes. And here we are. We've already got some splashes. That's why I really encourage you to do this outside. It's not the end of the world. Blue is a pretty color. So I'm going to let this sit. And if you have a container, if you have a lid you can put on there, that's good. It'll just keep it from getting more oxygen in. If you have a tight fitting lid, like I'm going to fill this bucket up with clean water, clear, clean water. This is going to be my rinse bucket. And I'll just fill that up with cool water. But sometimes I do my indigo in these. These are great to do indigo in. Because then when you put the lid down, if you want to wait and save it, if you can't use it all in one day, and you want to save it, put the lid on tight, and then that keeps oxygen from getting in, which keeps your blue being blue. All right, I'll come back in 30 minutes.